on there. Who we send it to?
I would like to call to order this evening's meeting of the Education Advisory Board. It is September 11th, 2023. I'm Chair Paula Wilson, and I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we'll have our roll call.
Chair Paula Wilson,
Here.
Vice Chair Nancy Panay, Jennifer Sullivan,
Here.
Kathleen Greer, Erin Franklin, Dolores Robinson, Connor Morley, and Councilman Jeff Amara.
Here.
Thank you. I'm pleased to present Principal Siri Miller from Western Academy Charter School for our school presentation this evening.
Good evening. First, thank you for allowing Western Academy to present tonight. My name is my name is Siri Miller.
I've had days like that too.
I am the principal and CEO of Western Academy. This is my 13th year at WACS, which is what we call Western Academy for short, WACS. But this is my 13th year there. I've been a teacher in the district, a teacher at Western Academy, a dean of students, assistant principal, and this is my third year going into being principal. I want to introduce to you, before I move on further, my assistant principals, Mrs. Crown. Mrs. Crown has been at Western Academy for about 11 years. She is our testing coordinator, our professional development lead. She is our new teacher educator support program leader, and much more. And Mrs. Palenka is also our assistant principal. She's been at Western Academy for 16 years. She started as a teacher assistant and then worked her way up to math teacher and then teacher on special assignment. And now we are lucky to have her as assistant principal, and she handles a lot of our student behavior and has our positive support team, and also supports our new teachers as well. So tonight I am going to share with you some information about our school and why we are such a great school, and why we provide an excellent quality education to our students in Royal Hunt. So we were very humbled and honored that we had our contract renewed for another 15 years. We were able to do 15 years because we are a high-performing charter school, so that's not a usual amount of time that's given for a renewal. So we are looking forward to serving the community at least for another 15 years and beyond. And thank you, Mrs. Andrews, for your support with that and your vote of confidence. It means a lot to us. We are also a not-for-profit charter school. This is our 21st year in existence. We've been around since 2003. We have our own board of directors, and we are independent. We are not run by any kind of management company. So we have been A-rated since 2006. We serve kindergarten through 8th grade. Right now, we currently have 645 students enrolled. And then we'll go into more detail about our programs, but we have an innovative elementary program called the Innovative Class Model, a STEAM Academy Choice program for middle school, and we follow all the state, even though we're charter, we still follow state-adopted standards and curriculum. We take the state testing. We are held accountable for our academic performance. And I will show you also, we consistently outperform the district and state. We've been the recipient of various grants and rewards. And we have a special hometown feel. I would love to give everyone a tour. Even in our new, bigger building, it still has that great hometown family feel. We are a free public school, so our parents do not have to pay tuition, and we are top ranking in Royal Palm Beach. So this is our school's mission statement. The school's mission is to equip all children with the skills necessary for success on both an educational and social level. We believe in addressing the whole child through a multisensory approach to learning, and we believe that both the family and community are essential participants in the education of children, and that together we can help children become socially adept individuals with self-confidence, self-respect, compassion, and respect for others in their community. And I know we're meeting this mission because in the latest district report, 100% of our students who graduated, whether in 5th grade or 8th grade from Western Academy, went on to graduate high school. So these are some of the awards and recognitions we've received. We've been A-rated since 2006. We have been a Florida School of Excellence since 2017, which is when that award began. So we've been a recipient since its inception. And that's based on our academic performance and being in the top 80% in the state out of all schools. We are also a Florida high-performing charter school since 2011, and that's also based on our academic performance, our governance, and our financial stability. We've been a 5-star award winner. We implement a new innovative class model, which Mrs. Polenka will tell you more about that later, and we are a Green School of Excellence. So the latest U.S. News and World Report ranking has us in the top 1% of all charter schools in Florida, the top 1.5% of all middle schools in the state of Florida, and this is all schools, not just charter schools, and in the top 10% of all elementary schools in Florida. And then this is our new home. We moved into this building the beginning of last year, and it's been amazing. We love having our own structure that we can call our own and have everyone in one place. Our parents love it, our students love it, our staff love it. I'm just so happy to be there. And with that, we do have space to grow, and so we have been slowly expanding since last year. Our goal is to have a total enrollment of 785 students by school year 25-26. We've added, so that'll be a total of 270 students. We've added half that already, and the next 2 years we'll add the other half. And this just shows our demographics. We do have 53% minority students. 15% are Black or African American, 27% are Hispanic, 47% are white. And I'm going to share with you our latest FAST results from May. That's our state testing results. And I'm going to compare them by grade level in our own school, and then compare them to the district and state academic performance. So this slide shows our FAST results in English language arts. So in 3rd grade, 71% of our students were proficient, which means they scored a level 3 or higher. In fourth grade, 80% were proficient. Fifth grade, 75%. Sixth grade, 82%. And seventh and eighth grade, 78%. So as you can see, we're scoring approximately 20 points higher than the district and state average for elementary school and 30 points above their average for middle school. So our students do really well. We're very proud of them. We were within the top 10 highest scoring schools in the district for, in the middle schools in the district for 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade ELA, and within the top 5 for 6th and 8th grade academic performance in ELA. And we are also within the top 15 in elementary schools for ELA. And then these are our math results. For 3rd grade, 68% proficient, 4th grade, 80%, 5th grade, 66%, 6th grade, 96%, 7th grade, 82%, 8th grade, 93%, and then 100% in algebra and geometry. So we are one of the highest scoring schools in Palm Beach County for 6th grade math, and one of the top schools with the 100% pass rate in algebra and geometry. We were also within the top 10 elementary schools in Palm Beach County for math also. And these are our science results. Our 5th graders and 8th graders take science state testing in May. 78% of our 5th graders were proficient and 72% of our 8th graders. So again, you can see they're about 25% points higher on average than the district and state. And we were within the top 10 scoring elementary schools for 5th grade and top 10 for middle school. And then we have our civics results. Our 7th graders take the civics end of course exams, and 94% of our students in 7th grade passed the civics EOC. That was also within one of the top 5 highest scoring schools in Palm Beach County. And then I know I mentioned this before, but 100% of our 5th graders go on to graduate high school, and our 8th graders who graduate, 100% of them go on to graduate high school as well. So we're very proud of them. It shows that what we're doing is helping them be successful for their future. And their success, it's really a conglomeration of a lot of things. I can't just say it's one thing that makes our school great. We have an amazing staff. We have one-of-a-kind innovative programs. We have a lot of family involvement and other things that we're going to get into further on. So this is a slide about our staff. Our teachers are highly qualified. All of our teachers are certified. So you might hear about some charter schools not hiring certified teachers. All of our teachers are certified. 11 of our teachers have been at WACS for 5 to 10 years. 6 of our teachers have been at WACS between 10 and 15 years, and 8 of our teachers have been at WACS for 15 years or more. We have 3 mother-daughter teams. 12 current staff members have their children attending our school, including Mrs. Palenka's daughter, and 10 current staff members have children who graduated from our school, including myself, my 2 daughters. One is in Suncoast now and the other at UCF. And 4 of our former students are now employees as teacher assistants or in our aftercare. And the reason why I shared this slide with you is because our culture feels like family, right? So our teachers have been here a long time because we all support each other. It's very collaborative. When Mrs. Palenka explains to you about our program, you'll see it allows for, it like requires, not just allows for, a lot of collaboration. And so our teachers feel supported, and even our new teachers, they have a great support system because our veteran teachers are there to help them, our teacher leaders. And our new teachers, they're never teaching alone in a silo. They're in, as you'll see in our program, they're in a cluster of teachers who share the same students, right? So if they have an issue with a student or behavior, they have teachers they can go to who work with the same students. And then also with the content area, there are other teachers who teach the exact same grades and content area who are supportive. So we set up our veteran teachers and our teacher leaders to really mentor our new teachers and support them, as well as our administration, because it's really important that we support our new teachers and give them what they feel they need to succeed. So yeah, it's just a great positive culture. And it says a lot that we have family attending and students coming back to our school. So as a principal, that makes me proud. And so we push really hard for a positive culture and a safe culture for our students. So we have a positive behavior initiative called Stallion Strong. That's our universal guideline or universal saying around our campus. And for students to be successful, they have to be Stallion Strong. And we really started pushing this the last few years to make this school-wide. And it was a little challenging thinking of something that kindergartners could relate to and 8th graders could get excited about. But we kept it simple, and it's working so far. So our students have to be Stallion Strong, and that's be safe, work hard, be respectful. And those are the things that we instill in them. You can see posters in our hallways. We have posters tailored to the little kids, posters tailored to the older kids in our middle school hallways. Our elementary teachers have them tailored to their classroom, and then middle schoolers have like more detailed posters about their work completion and study habits that really go into middle school. So far it's working well, and we reward our students with Strong tickets. So it's school-wide. We have Stallion Strong raffle tickets. We have every trimester a Stallion Strong shop, and we have parents donate items and businesses donate gift cards. We also allow them to buy things that don't cost us anything, like lunch outside, extra recess for 20 minutes, things like that, so the kids get really excited for that. And then our programs, Mrs. Paulinka is going to come up and tell you about our elementary program.
Hi there, good evening. So I just wanted to share with you folks a little bit about our innovative class model. This is a model that we initiated this year. We had a model that we were using a few years back when I was in the classroom, and there was things that we enjoyed about it, there was things that we didn't love so much, so we decided to sit down and kind of create our own, if you will. So the important thing here to remember is the number 3. Clusters are made up of 3 content area teachers. The students stay with those teachers for 3 years. So where do we get the name class from? The C is for clusters. That is made up of 3 content area teachers. They're masters of their craft. When I was in the classroom, I taught intermediate mathematics for 14 years. I loved the subject. My passion was conveyed to my students, and we see that with our teachers as well. The reading teacher is passionate about reading. She's teaching reading all day long. Similarly, the writing and science teachers, they become masters of their craft. They incorporate the writing and the science stations all together. And so we see that the students can really get a feel for, this is my teacher's favorite subject. I can tell that my teacher is passionate about this, she loves it or he loves it, and therefore that passion is contagious. So the students are with that teacher for 90 minutes. Then they move on to the next content area. The clusters are beneficial in that the teachers share these, let's say, 75 students. So you really come as a group collaboratively to say, what's going on with Johnny today? He's having a rough day. Let's figure this out. Or when you meet as a parent-teacher conference, it's all 3 teachers with that parent to give you a real picture of how that child's day looks. You're constantly supportive and collaborating with your team of teachers, planning field trips with them, planning special events, thematic units, things of that nature. The L is from the looping. The children stay with the teachers for 3 years. So in our K-1-2 clusters, the students enter the cluster in kindergarten and they loop up into 1st grade and they loop up into 2nd grade with those teachers. So it allows our teachers to hit the ground running in August. They know the child's learning style, they know the family, they know the specific needs of that student, and so it really allows us to begin teaching on day 1, if you will. They develop stronger relationships with those teachers because they have them for 3 years, and it's so rewarding to see the growth when you get a kindergartner and now they leave you as an almost 3rd grader. To see that growth is just so rewarding as an educator. And then finally, the stallion stations. That is our hands-on model that we use. The students break out into 6 stations, approximately 3 times a week in each content area. So there's a math stations going on in the math room. There's reading stations going on in the reading room. There's writing and science stations going on in the writing and science room as well. The 6 stations consist of a teacher station, which is invaluable. Just like you can remediate, you can enrich, you can meet with your small groups. It's just so rewarding to work with them in those small groups. And even like, hey babe, you were out for, the last 3 days. Come over to teacher station, let me help you get caught up. So teacher station is just so beneficial to the learners and to the classroom dynamic as a whole. Another station that we have is the technology station. What that looks like in each classroom is a little bit different. Sometimes it's a Kindle, sometimes it's the computer, sometimes they're on a program like IXL. Then we have textbook station, that's anything paper pencil. Could be a worksheet, could be something a little more exciting than that. A textbook station that we had a few years ago in the math room was we got to-go menus, and they were ordering from the to-go menus, and they were taking orders around the classroom. Anything where they're using a paper and a pencil, not necessarily just a ditto. Construction, they're constructing something. They're hands-on, they're building, they're making models, things of that nature. Challenge station is perhaps an academic game or something to really extend the learning. Teacher station we already discussed, and then exploration, that's really something where they're delving deeper into the learning. They're testing out a hypothesis, they're writing about something that's connected to the thematic unit of that month, let's say. So that is our innovative class model that we've been pushing out the last year or so. We're very much excited about it, and we have found that when we use this model in the classrooms, the teachers are happier and the students and families are happier as well. Speaking about our K-5 classrooms, we also offer our students 7 different electives as part of our special wheel. So for 3 weeks, they may attend physical education, and then in 3 weeks, they might go to art. 3 weeks later, they may go to computer technology class. 3 weeks after that, they may go to music. So the 7 that we offer are the 4 that I just mentioned. We also incorporate guidance on that specials wheel, social skills classes on that specials wheel, as well as this year we're inviting our K-5 students to participate in our digital art elective as well. All right, to speak about our middle school program, I am going to welcome Ms. Wendy Brown, the other assistant principal at our school.
Hello. So I'm going to go off script just for a second. Mrs. Miller mentioned how our school is very hometown, very small, I think, and also very family-oriented. I think what makes it the great school has a lot to do with Mrs. Miller herself. And I want to thank her for supporting me to be where I am. I'm sure Mrs. Blanco wants to thank her as well. But we came up through teaching. We didn't just come off the street and, we've all been there for a while. Mrs. Miller taught reading. She was our ESE contact. Mrs. Blanco told you she taught math. I taught math. I also taught what I'm about to talk about, middle school engineering and robotics. So I think that adds to what makes our school such a good school in your community. So speaking of the middle school, We have a regular program and we have a STEAM Academy. The regular program is traditional regular classes with the 4 content areas, and they have 2 fine arts or electives. If you're looking at that program as a whole, it's fantastic. Last year we had just our regular 6th grade program, like Mrs. Miller was mentioning, they had 100% almost pass rate, so that's pretty awesome. And not just because of the STEAM program, because of our regular program. And then we have our STEAM Academy. I'm sure many of you now at this point, you've been educated about STEAM, you know what it stands for. It also has the same 4 content areas and 2 enrichment classes. So STEAM, again, is a academy that has the science, the technology, the engineering, the math, and the arts. And we do that by having two sections of the STEAM program, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment. So they have the IT track, which includes computer applications and computer coding. Right now, our teacher is actually teaching Python coding, which is new to our students. They're used to doing a little bit less low-key, not so intense, and it's become a challenge for them because they're used to just, you know, the block type coding where they drag and drop, and he's bringing them behind the scenes and actually teaching them what we used to use a long time ago, and also today, that actually creates the programs instead of just, all right, let's take this block of code and drag it into its spot, which was pretty neat. And then there's also an animation and 2D and 3D design and 3D printers. They create all kinds of 3D actual products that you can use. They made me a little crown, which I treasure, but not as useful as some of the other things they've made, but they can make parts and actually just like you see in the real industry where you can computer design 3D parts that replace or repair a real product. So it's a real world use. And then they do gaming mechanics. So on Fridays, yes, they do get rewarded to play games, but during the rest of the week, they're actually learning how to create those games, the coding that's behind it, and can actually use that someday if they want to, you know, not just game, but actually create those games out in the real world. And then we have engineering. Engineering is one of my loves. I actually taught this class, engineering and robotics. We just brought in a new product by Vex. We decided that we wanted to be a little bit more with it with our products because we had a robot whose name was Rick, who there wasn't really a competition level associated with him. So now with Vex, we can actually go out into the community, into the competitive world, and actually start real competition. And I think the students are going to really love that. We're also bringing in an engineering and robotics club. Well, we've had it, but we're reinstituting it. And the kids really love it. It's very hands-on. You know Legos, right? So we use a product called Fisher Technic, which is similar to Legos. It's that snap and building blocks, and they make bridges, they make catapults, they make all kinds of really cool things. And then with the robotics, they actually build the robot. It's a kit robot, so they're not getting out and going and getting components, but they're building that robot, and then they program the robot to do different things. Actually, one of the students on the slide right there spent 2 weeks writing an entire concerto for his robot to perform for the class. Note by note, it was really cool. They're beeps. They're not really that musical, but he managed to make it sound very musical. And then you can see in the other picture, there's a track there. We used to do like races where you have to guide. It's actually very complicated. You have to guide the robot with commands to follow that track. And then we have other enrichment classes in our STEAM program and in our middle school, the traditional art, music, and PE, but we also offer entrepreneurship, intro to zoology, finance, intro to psychology, journalism, and creative writing. I think maybe Mrs. Miller or Mrs. Planka mentioned, so we have experts that come teach for us, and we have a real live zoologist that came and, she's our 6th grade science teacher, and she said, hey, I came from a zoo, actually working there, can I maybe put together a zoology program? And so she did, and the kids love it. So it's really nice to have that kind of, something that really loves their field and is wanting to share that with their students. Good.
We have other extracurricular activities for our students too. We have a chorus and show choir, intramural sports. We have a National Junior Honor Society, an engineering club, a writing club, a khaki club for conservation, a SECME club, media club, art club, a student council, and SAC representatives. And then our top priority above academic performance and everything else is safety. So these are some of the things that we have in place to provide a very safe environment for our students. We do have a full-time school resource officer on site every single school day. Our teachers have emergency panic buttons, which go directly to PBSO. We all have the Safer Watch app on our school devices and cell phones, which if they press, I think it's a few times, it also connects directly to PBSO in an emergency, so every staff member has access to that. We have several cameras located throughout the facility. All around our perimeter is covered, and in high traffic areas inside the school. We have the panoramic domes mounted on the ceilings in the hallways. We have a badge system to enter the building, which can be controlled easily by myself or our COO. We have one point of entry for visitors. They have to be buzzed in, show their identification, and then I really like that we have another set of double doors that before any visitors can actually get into the main part of the school. So we have a closed off lobby. Our visitors have to be cleared through Raptor, which flags unsafe visitors. We have shatterproof windows around the outside of the school. And then of course we perform our emergency drills. We now have PBSO come for our emergency drills too. They walk around with our school resource officer during the drill and give us any feedback. And it's been going well. I tell them they can come anytime instead of planning it out, so we can, see how things would work, for real. So, yeah, so that's a great partnership that we have with PBSO for that also. And then, in addition to academic performance, we also really promote family and community involvement. So our parents are required to volunteer 10 hours per school year per family. So some of our families with 4 kids get a little nervous, but it's per family 10 hours, which it could go by pretty fast. We ask that they volunteer at events. They can help out our teachers in the classroom. They can help out in our cafeteria. They volunteer in our strong shop for the day when we have that reward for our students. And then we try to get out there in the community as well. We participate in Royal Palm Beach's Winterfest and other community events. Our chorus and show choir visits several assisted living facilities throughout the year in Royal Palm Beach and Wellington. We partner with the Salvation Army for the Salvation Army Angels during the holiday time, and we just try to stay as involved as we can.
Well, thank you, Principal Miller, Assistant Principals Palenka and Crown. And I'd like to ask the board if you have any questions or comments for them.
Thanks for that thorough presentation. Loved all the statistics about your rankings and your test scores, so kudos. My question, I think I read on a slide that the STEM or the STEAM program is a part of the choice school. Is that part of the choice program where a student family can sign up like the lottery?
So we are a lottery, but we're not part of the district
Okay.
choice program. So students who want to come to our STEAM Academy have to go onto our website and apply through our own system.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just wanted to comment that I'm really impressed, so much so, I wish I had a kid to send there, or I could be a teacher there.
Okay, we'll take it.
But I
Thumbs up.
think
Thank you. And honestly, if we could set up tours, I'd love to show you guys around and show you how special it is.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again.
Thank you for your time.
Now we will have a presentation from. Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Now we'll have a presentation from the Palm Beach County School District School Police Chief Sarah Mooney and Chief of Equity and Wellness Keith Oswald.
Goes underneath that other icon. Well, yeah, help me out here, you teacher people. I got it. Good evening. My name is Sarah Mooney. I am the police chief for the school district of Palm Beach County. In my second school year now, prior to being with the district, I was with the city of West Palm Beach for 27 years. Started there as a rookie officer and worked my way up to police chief. And now I'm on my second run here with the district. So I thank you for giving us the opportunity tonight to give you an overview of what we're doing in regard to safety and security in the school district of Palm Beach County. My counterpart, Keith Oswald, will give you a little bit of information on some of the layers of things that we're doing within the district. It's not just about physical security, it's not just about the people, but it's about a lot of the programs that we have that tie into it. So first off, the school district's mission and vision has to do with obviously having security and safety on all of our district campuses and facilities. So we have several different facilities that are not just school related. We cover the safety and security on those properties also. So like our main headquarters and our transportation centers and the likes like that. So it's not just the schools themselves. One of our missions is to provide excellent customer service. So our customers, not only our students, but it's our staff, it's our fellow employees, and the other people that we work with. We're committed to community engagement, so we like to get out and about, not only in the schools, but out into the community when they have school-sponsored events, or the school gets invited, any of the schools get invited to come participate in some of the community outreach events that occur countywide. We always like to take the approach that school safety is definitely everybody's responsibility. It's not just law enforcement, it's not just teachers, it's not just the students, it's everybody working together to make sure that we have the best environment for our kids and our staff and our employees. So in regard to campus safety and security specifically, I like the WAC. Their slide is very similar on some of the things that we're doing as far as initiatives go and some of the safety and security measures that we take on all of our campuses. First off, we do have one armed security person on every campus. Ours are all police officers. We do have several schools that are covered by Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office to assist us. We're not quite at the staffing levels that we need to be to make sure that we have all school police in every single school in the district. We're working towards hitting that mark so that we will be the primary law enforcement officer on every campus, hopefully by the end of this school year. But in the meantime, we do partner with the county, and we, in addition to all the municipalities in the county that have schools in their jurisdictions. Typically, they're going to be supplemental coverage on our campuses, though. So like our high schools, we like to invite in the local municipalities. We have a contracted opening every day in our high schools so that those locals have the opportunity to come onto our campuses, get to know the environment, so that if we ever did have to call them for some sort of backup or reinforcements, they're going to be familiar with the campuses as soon as they get there because they've already been there. One of the other systems that's a security measure, according to Alyssa's law, is that emergency alert button. We go with Centegix, which is basically, it's this little card right here that everybody in the district got. It's got an emergency panic button on it. We use it in two different capacities. One is as a staff alert on the campus itself. So the staff members on the campus could hit that button 3 times and it will alert certain responders on the campus to let them know that there's something going on, that they could use an extra set of eyes or an extra set of hands to come help deal with a problem that's on the campus. Not an absolute emergency, but an emergency enough that you could use some extra help to come in and handle the situation. The multiple button push is similar to what WAC was discussing. We have a direct connect to the local PSAPs, that's our 911 answering centers. So if there is an extreme emergency on the campus and we need reinforcements to get to that campus as soon as possible, we hit that button 8 times or more. It immediately notifies 911. An alert will come up on the computer screens on everybody on the campus. It will go into a lockdown on the campus automatically because the Centegix alert has strobes that are situated throughout the campuses in addition to being tied into our intercom system. So it'll announce that there's an emergency on the campus, and it will say you're going into a lockdown, and everybody would go into their emergency protocols until law enforcement gets to come out and mitigate whatever the circumstances were that caused someone to push that button. I can tell you we've had great success with it, but we've had a lot of accidental button pushes and things like that. We've gone through a lot of growing pains over the past year. We initiated it at the beginning of last school year. We've had a lot less false alarms, so to speak, this year. Still a work in progress, but it's better than not having anything for sure. And it also gives us the opportunity to work with our local jurisdictions in response mode. They're trained on what the code yellows, code red, what that emergency response looks like, and it gets us all talking when they're on the way to the campus to try to get information to them as quick as possible. Another thing that we have that's in place is single points of entry, same as most of the schools in the state at this point. We lock all of our exterior perimeter gates that are outside of the campus except for the main entrances on the campus. So you may drive by, you hear that people say, we've got a single point of entry and all the gates and doors have to be locked all the time when school's in session. We typically will have one front entrance that's open that will lead to where the single point of entry is into the campus, which would be the main office. Some of the campuses have people that will meet in the parking lot if a visitor comes to the school, and they'll do the same screening for a visitor that comes to the campus to make sure that they're supposed to be there and that they're allowed to be there. Those schools that don't have a monitor in the parking lot will go through the main entrance. They'll get buzzed in by the front office clerk, and they do the same thing. They'll run their information, make sure that they're able to be on the campuses, and that they have an appointment or they have a means to be there. There's a reason for them to be there. But there is kind of a screening at the front end. You can't just walk onto the campuses or right into the school. Last year we updated the policy, the district security policy, which mandates all of the teachers to have their classroom doors locked during class sessions. That's best practice via state statute. It is not required, but it is best practice, and our board felt comfortable, or they felt it was important enough that we had to put it into policy to make sure that our teachers were doing that. It's been a little bit of a work in progress in making sure that we're monitoring that, but that's one of the things that our officers on the campus will go around during class time. They're checking door handles and whatnot to make sure that we have compliance on that. And it's not a matter of people not wanting to do it. It's just sometimes we want them to have it as an automatic, that's an automatic thing that they do. When classes start and the kids are all in there, we lock the doors. Because Murphy's Law would tell you that if somebody gets in that shouldn't be in there, the one door they're going to find is the one that's left unlocked. So we really try to harp on making sure that we have all of our campus doors locked. I said before about how we have layers of security and safety throughout the schools. Behavioral threat management teams are on every campus. That's a team of people that are specifically trained to help mitigate incidences that happen with our students and to do a review of that and see if there's any services or anything that we can do to help intervene to keep a situation from getting worse than it might have been when it came on the radar. Mr. Oswald will speak a little bit more about that. He's kind of the resident expert on that piece. But we do have a law enforcement officer on every one of those behavioral threat management teams. So they meet monthly, and like I said, they get specifically trained in order to be able to do threat assessments in order to help our students. All of our district employees every year get annual active assailant training. That's mandatory to have that done. We have that done by October 1st every year. Sometimes it's in person, sometimes it's via electronic learning, but we make sure that we monitor that so that everybody understands what our protocols are if there's an emergency on the campus. And then the emergency drill schedule, that changed this year a little bit. We don't have quite as many fire drills as we used to have, but that gets integrated into our emergency drills, which might be a weather event, it could be an active assailant event, it could be a lockdown, a code red lockdown, which is the severe one, or a code yellow, which is a little less severe. It just has everybody kind of shelter in place, but it's not necessarily hiding and expecting the worst. It's just kind of there's something that's going on off the campus, so you practice locking down interior in case that off-campus thing ends up getting onto the campus, so that they're already prepared, and you can always go up or down on your codes and your drills, so we practice all of those. Some of the new and current initiatives that we have at the police department through the district is we recently got 60 new marked police cars. They're pickup trucks. You may have seen them kind of cruising around the county. So we thought it was very important to make sure that we had visibility on our campuses. So we have a marked police car on every single campus in the district at this point. Metal detector pilot project. That was something that was brought to us through our constituents and the board. They wanted us to do a project to see whether or not it would be feasible to be able to do metal detectors at the schools. So currently we have 4 high schools that have implemented the program as a pilot. It's Palm Beach Gardens High School, Seminole Ridge, John I. Leonard, and Palm Beach Lakes High School. We have tweaked it a little bit. We had the opportunity over the summertime to learn how the equipment works and learn what we think would be the best practices so that we could start on the first day of school. As we expected, there were quite the delays on the first days of school, but as we have moved through the processes, the kids have kind of gotten trained up on what the expectation is, how you walk in, and what kind of things are going to set them off and what kind of things aren't, so that they can kind of hand them off. It's not TSA. It's not like that. It's not that strict that you know you're going to find every little thing, every little piece of metal, because you just can't stop everybody on the way in. But we have the ability to refine the sensitivity on them, and we've been working with that to make sure that we can get the kids into school on time and get them in a safe fashion, and also to detect anything that might cause great harm on the campus. Hiring and recruiting, like I said before, we are still soliciting the assistance of some of our local jurisdictions to help make sure that we have the minimum mandatory staffing on our campuses. We're working towards getting to where we can be self-sufficient in regard to that, but my intention would still be to contract with our outside agencies so that we still have a team approach to security on these campuses. Our charter schools, in addition to the campuses that have PBSO on them, as we have 15 elementary schools that have PBSO only as the coverage at this point. We liaison with the school staff to make sure that we have a school district police officer that's available to help with creating crisis plans for the campuses, making sure the training gets done, they walk through the drills, they help to coordinate with the local jurisdictions to make sure that everybody's getting the same treatment, the same coverage, and the same feedback from the school police to make sure that nobody's missing out just because they may have a contracted officer on their campuses right now. We continue to do ongoing security assessments each year. We have to do an annual assessment of every campus, and we do that with the police officer in conjunction with the administrative staff. They'll basically go through, check fencing, alarms, cameras, card readers, almost a wish list of things that they would like to improve or beef up a little bit on their campuses. We do a report out to our board. Actually, we'll be doing it the first week of October is when it goes in front of the board with the results. So I'm happy to say that we had all the results of those assessments done. Typically, they have to be done by the beginning of October so that they can be presented. Our district tries to do them a little bit sooner, so we actually start working on those assessments right at the end of the school year and during summer school to make sure that we have all those assessments done so that the administration can focus on other things once school's getting ready to go. We do have, last year we had an issue with some minor weapons. Well, I say minor. Tasers. Tasers are a big thing on our campuses. Not that there's a lot of them, but it does not raise the ire of people like a weapon, like a gun would. So over the past year, we've been trying to do a lot more educating on our zero tolerance policy, because if you bring a taser or a gun or a knife, as per statute, you're facing a zero tolerance and an expulsion from school for at least a year. So we did put together a video last year that kind of gives you an overview of that. I'm going to see if it works. If it does, you get to listen to me for 2 more minutes on this. I need a password on this. Will it work through? Okay, we'll skip the video because you got me live, so it should be good, right? Oh, maybe it'll work here. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to it. You think? Would it go? Basically, the video is an overview of some of the things that we see on the campuses. We have some parents that that actually provide tasers and minor weapons because they're concerned for their kids' safety when they're walking to and from school. We have certain locations where it might be a little bit safer than other places. So oftentimes our parents are aware of the fact that the students actually have something that they shouldn't have on their or in their bags when they're coming to campus. So we've tried to do some educating around that. I know that our school board is very adamant about the fact that the idea of the tasers, like you can get a taser for $7 on Amazon. It's a real little tiny thing that's like a little mini zapper, but per statute, that's going to get you expelled. So we're trying to mitigate those type of things and come up with alternatives. Our best alternative is, hey, if you're not safe or you don't feel safe when you're going to school, contact your officer, contact your administration. Let us try to come up with an alternative plan to get you to school safely so you don't have to concentrate on having a weapon in your bag and worrying about getting in trouble when you get to school. Never mind worrying about being safe when you're on your way to or from school. So we really focus on that a lot. Threat reporting is also another biggie. We get a lot of social media threats. They seem like they, oh, it's not that, it's a joke, it's this, we don't take them as a joke. So we do a lot of advertising around the fact that we don't play with threats. We will investigate all of them, and if we find that a student has made a threat that has disrupted the campus and it meets the statutory guidelines, they're facing zero tolerance policies too. We have and criminal charges potentially. So we don't want to get the kids in the court system just because they're doing something that might be it might be a dumb kid thing for the day. So we're trying to, on the front end, educate them on what that looks like and what the ramifications are and trying to avoid it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to that behavioral health piece and Mr. Oswald.
Thank you, Chief, and good evening. Thank you for having us today. As you can see, a lot has changed over the last couple of years. And also in the space of mental health, a lot has changed. Unfortunately, due to the Margie Stoneman Douglas tragedy, actually a lot of good has come, a lot more resources, a lot more support to our schools. We know clearly that when students are mentally healthy, they're going to do much better in school. They're going to be ready to learn the academics, like we saw here earlier. And you layer in what happened with school shootings, and then also with what happened with the pandemic, the increase of mental health referrals has gone up dramatically, and the supports are needed. Unfortunately, here in Palm Beach County, we have a lot of rich in resources that I'm going to go over to share with you just how we address this issue. So traditionally, you probably, prior to 2018, what you typically had on school campus was your school counselors, one at the elementary, maybe two at the middle, and then a few more at the high school, and then your school psychologist. We did a lot of testing. Well, that's changed a lot. We have a lot more resources. And in thanks, and I want to thank you and your constituent support for the tax referendum. That's really supporting a lot of what Chief Mooney talked about and a lot of what's on this particular screen, which is a whole new department that's supported through the referendum. So through the referendum, we did add in additional school counselors, but a number of these additional items as well. I'm going to talk a little bit more detail on a different slide about our co-located mental health professionals, our school behavioral health professionals, our CAPE team, which is a crisis team. I'll talk more about them. The school psychologists also sit within this particular department that supports this work. The PREPARE program. If there is an emergency and a crisis, outside of law enforcement's response, our school staff and district, there's trained individuals on our campuses like our counselors, our behavioral health professionals, and others that really are ready to respond to any small crisis to a large crisis on a campus, in particular with the mental and behavioral health supports that's needed. So it's important to know that's a national model, the PREPARE model, that we train all staff in. In addition, we do ongoing targeted professional development. For example, de-escalation, right? So for instance, in a crisis, are the staff trained on the best strategies to de-escalate? We had a lot more professionals on our campuses. They come back with different types of training. We want to make sure there's certain things that all staff have. Our collaboration, our behavioral health agreements, we have 35 agencies that we work with throughout Palm Beach County, some of them directly on our campuses, but I'll talk a little bit more about. Youth mental health first aid and teen mental health first aid. Youth mental health first aid is a training for our employees as well as community members that can go through that really train them for someone who's not a mental health professional on the signs and symptoms and how to get someone help that may need that help. Astonishingly, astonishingly, last year we had 91% of our staff and our school-based employees trained in this. Understand the context, we have 23,000 employees. So that's a big, lot of work that had to happen, and thanks to our principals, we were able to get that accomplished, and that includes our charters as well. Also, what's really key is establishment of strong behavioral health teams on our campuses. So our principals now have a team of people. They have behavioral health professionals, co-located agencies. It's important that they work together as a team to address the incoming referrals and issues on the school campus. So the behavioral health professionals. This is a new position we added thanks to the referendum. We have one on every single campus. Again, thanks to the referendum, we train them in a number of different de-escalation strategies, how to be really on the prevention and proactive side. Our behavioral health professionals come with varying backgrounds, some licensed and able to do small group with parent consent support, some with just lots of experience of working with different type of youth and provide a great additional support to our school campuses. Our principals love them. What I tend to get is they just want more of them. So that's a good resource. Our co-located mental health professional. So Palm Beach County has a lot of agencies that provide mental health services to our residents. So what we had to do is really change our model. Typically I talked about those 35 agencies. When we have a referral or a parent wants to get additional support, typically we'd give them a referral to, hey, go to the Center for Child Counseling. And maybe the parent would go, maybe they wouldn't go. They have to drive to a different building. They didn't know the person. So we changed our model, access. We put these individuals on our school campuses. So we have 10 agencies at 115 schools providing direct support on our campuses. Principals give them a space to work out of. And it has been phenomenal. Last year, they worked with 31,000 different students here in Palm Beach County, providing that direct access. It's free service up to 12 counseling sessions for each one of these. So this has just been a fantastic model. Center for Child Counseling, for example, they're in 15 of our schools, and there's about 10 of them. So we're always trying to expand that particular model to get the access closer, to become part of that school culture and climate. And parents know them, and they don't realize they're actually an employee of a different agency. But it's been a fantastic model. In addition, our CAPE teams provides a crisis assessment prevention education for just in time when a school is in need of support immediately. So students in crisis, they need additional support. We also work with Palm Beach Sheriff's Office Behavioral Health Unit as well as the county's mobile crisis, and then we have our own as well that go out to assess, to support, to help a school when a student's actually in the crisis. One of our key pieces here is really messaging, right? To let people that there are resources out there and that there's not a stigma when it comes to being mentally healthy. And I think we've done a really good job of that. When you look at our data and the number of referrals going to our co-located, to our behavioral health professionals, our school counselors, clearly all I ever get from principals, can I get a second? Can I get more of them? They're being used. People are referring, and it's happening. And that, and thanks a lot from the top down, right, from our superintendent, our school board, Ms. Andrews, who's always championing the work around here. We have a policy that really dictates a lot of how we utilize these resources to make sure we're optimizing them every single day. And it's key for individuals like you to let your constituents know about the resources that exist. So if someone is struggling, we don't want them. If you're struggling at home with a child, there's resources in our campuses. Just talk to a counselor, an AP, a principal. Reach out. We have supports available. It's just making sure that people know that. So that's why it's great that you had us here today. In addition, we have a web page called Caring First. This Caring First web page, you can get pretty easily from our district web page. It has a list of resources for the community, to links to other resources to support, addresses other areas such as homelessness, foster care, other issues that can play into really living mentally healthy. Our motto that we really try to preach out, and we ask our principals to put this out there so kids know who to turn to. that it's okay to be okay, it's okay to not be okay, but it's also okay to ask for help, right? So we want to always message that every single day, and it's really working. So we put this up so if someone in our schools in different languages, so if a student is afraid to reach out, they can, refer themselves if they see who they can contact or call to get additional help and support. I don't know if this video will work. Let's see if it gets to the firewall. But just to give you just kind of a coverage, when we talk about normalizing that messaging, our schools do a great job of having, mental health type days where they're just utilizing and let people know about their resources. Let's see if this one works. This is a good story that showcased one of, nope, I'm going to the firewall too. So a great one if you get this on your own to watch it, just really looking at the high school level, at Dwyer High School, just showing how even the football coaches supporting mental health, even with the football teams, and the importance of that. It's happening throughout Palm Beach, where schools are just doing a really good job of messaging that. Chief Mooney talked a little bit about the threat management. She and I worked closely on that project. The state of Florida had new legislation come in this past summer that they're going to a Florida model that has been really reviewed through the MSD Commission, as well as reviewed by Secret Service. It got approved, adopted. We are in the midst of getting our trainers trained. It's going to go live in January. We have to train all of our schools as well as our charter schools through this semester and start on this new platform in January. So they'll be all fresh with this new training. I think it'll do really well to making sure that along the continuum of assessing a threat, that prevention is happening as well as ongoing monitoring, right? The key to some of the issues that sometimes we see is that ongoing support and monitoring when someone is struggling. So very happy that we work with Chief Mooney on that project. So I'll stop there, and I think we can go ahead and open up for questions.
Well, thank you, Chief Mooney and Chief Oswald, for that presentation. As you said before, I really appreciate that you take a preventative rather than reactive approach. So I'd like to open any questions or comments to the board at this time.
My question is, co-located mental health professionals, they, those mental health professionals rotate to various schools? I mean, like, they're not full-time?
They are full-time, they're referendum funded, they are full-time, and they're free services. So parents don't have to worry about, getting some kind of insurance out. So they're free services. If it goes beyond the 12 sessions, typically the agency will work with the family to see if they can keep carrying them on through their own agency, or to, have a warm handoff to another agency if ongoing support is needed after that.
And how many schools have that?
Currently, we're at 115. Our biggest challenge is staffing, and the agencies have trouble with staffing as well. So, unfortunately, everybody's looking for mental health professionals. There's a lot of vacancies out there, and so key is really trying to recruit and retain for ourselves, but also for these agencies. So, but yeah, it's been a phenomenal success.
A question for Chief Mooney. Thank you very much for the presentation. Just as it relates to the metal detector program and whether or not that will expand, and for Royal Palm High School in particular, as we're looking, at this community, if that will come online.
It's going to be up to the board. I did an initial presentation on where we're at with the program right now. Just last week. We have another one in about 3 weeks that we're going to present to them. And at that point, they do have the funding in place to expand it to all the high schools throughout the county. It's just a matter of making sure that we can work through the logistics and provide the proper equipment and staffing in order to make those all work. But the goal is to go district-wide, at least in the high schools initially, and then potentially expand from there. So Royal Palm High School would be included in that.
And when you say goal, is that a 3-year goal? Is it?
It's
is there a timeline?
it's an almost by the end of this school year goal.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of the equipment, but you'll see even nationwide right now. Actually, the company that we got the equipment from is out of Italy, and they have expanded exponentially just over the past 6 months. So we were at least fortunate to get our bids in and get our equipment in early. We've been working with them closely to make sure that we have the equipment available for us. So it's just going to be a matter of, supply chain and how quickly we could get the equipment here if and when it gets approved by the board.
Thank you. And just a follow-up question for Mr. Oswald. In terms of, again, just thinking about the local community, and is there a vetting process for the mental health nonprofit partners that you work with? And is that something that we can try to communicate out to our village about if they provide that services, how they might be able to partner with you or get vetted through your program?
Yes, there's an extensive vetting process that an agency will go through, from background screenings, it's their capacity, their training that their employees go through. So yes, they can reach out to me directly, and I can link them up with our director. Typically, we kind of have a rolling, ongoing vetting process, only because we're trying to get more agencies on board to fill the need. So we can definitely work with. If you know any, please just have them email me. It's on the screen here.
Okay, thank you.
There are no other questions. Thank you. Oh, go ahead, Councilman
Don't
Mara.
mind, Madam
No, I
Chair.
don't mind.
So, back to the metal detectors, just for a second. Describe to me how that works.
Well, let me ask you, well, I'll put it into perspective. If you go to a Miami Dolphins football game or an FAU football game or a concert, they have freestanding. They're two posts,
Right.
and you walk through them. You don't even realize you're really going through a metal detector. So this is it's kind of a unique and very efficient system that we've got. The way we have it set up now, when the students are coming onto the campuses, at least on the 4 campuses that we're testing, we have a limited number of egress or ingress coming into school. So the key is you have to limit where the kids are coming in. So right now we have up to 3 different locations on the campuses where the students would come in. So basically they're coming in, they're getting their IDs scanned as part of their arrival processes on these campuses, and they just walk through the metal detector. It literally takes less than a second to walk through it, and as long as it doesn't beep, we can get, we're doing 2,000 to 3,000 kids on a campus, and they're getting in on time at this point. So it's pretty non-invasive, except if it does go off, then you kind of get put to the side for a second. We'll take you right, but they can walk through with their bags. There's a couple different types of items that we've identified that will set it off. We know that ahead of time. So like if you have a Chromebook in your backpack, they're asked to take your Chromebook out, and they're going to pass it along to somebody who's monitoring the station there. They'll hand it through so that it doesn't set it off. They walk through with their bags and their other property. If it doesn't go off, they hand them the Chromebook and off they go. It's been actually, it has gone a lot smoother than I expected. The first couple of days, we worked through some kinks because nobody really knew how it works and where you carry your things, and we had not identified all the items that we knew that were common for kids to have on them that may set it off. And something as simple as like a big 3-ring binder, that's going to set it off. Like the real big ones, we didn't know that kids even carried the 3-ring binders anymore, but those will set it off. So we know that ahead of time. So it's worked 2 ways. Some of the kids don't bring stuff they don't need anymore. Different size umbrellas will set it off, so that gets passed to the wayside. But nothing really real invasive. So it's a couple different items that we have identified. They pass them off. They know that that's what's going to set it off, and they're going through and just collecting their property and going in.
Well, ideally, it'll become a deterrent.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that even the staff, even the students, you can hear a little bit of chatter. We did have one incident where somebody worked at a local grocery store that had a box cutter on them before they went in and realized, oh my God, so now they're thinking, I can't have this in my bag. She had forgotten that she had been at work the night before, threw it in the bag, and now she's going towards this metal detector and thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to get caught for a 0 tolerance. We're able to kind of work with that and do almost not an amnesty type thing, but if you realize it ahead of time and you kind of self-report, we can make accommodations for that.
That's great. It sounds like it's working a lot better than I think anybody expected.
I believe so, and I can tell you that we've had Dade County Schools is coming up to come take a look at how we're doing it. Broward County was in town last week to take a look at it. So it's something that I think a lot of people didn't think it was going to work, and we've been pleasantly surprised with the results so far.
The deterrent value, again, I'm sure is going to be great. Even better than that, though, the school district is taking an approach to go for the root cause of the violence. And, I mean, the combination is, in my mind, perfect. It really is. And going after the destigmatization is clearly the right thing to do. And my hope is that it not only works for the kids while they are in school, but as they become adults. Maybe, we talk about kids being our future. Well, we got a serious mental health problem in this country. And maybe through the schools, in an odd way, we're finding a way to actually address it. So that would be my hope, and I compliment both of you all.
Yeah, it was amazing. The youth mental health first aid training, we had school cafeteria, we had bus drivers go through it that were really reluctant. They actually enjoyed it, found it helpful just to deal with issues in their own home and household and how to address some challenges. So it's been really, there were some real emotional trainings that we've had, so it's been really good.
That's great. Compliments to you all and to the school district.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll now have our reports from Central Region, District, and Principals.
Just a minute to switch. Okay, good evening, Education Advisory Board. Thank you for having me again this school year. It is our first meeting, and I am thrilled to first, share with you that we had a really, really smooth opening, one of the smoothest we've had in a very long time. So we're very thrilled about that. Before we get started, though, I would like to share with you that Superintendent Burke and Deputy Superintendent Tierney send their regards. They could not be here this evening, but we are here representing our district. I do want to thank, of course, our Chief of Equity and Wellness, Mr. Oswald, and our Chief of Police, Chief Mooney, for sharing such great information with you this evening. I know that that was one of your requests, so anytime that you have additional requests, just let me know, and we'll make sure that we coordinate accordingly. But thank you for sharing that information and being here. I would also like to thank our principals that are here with us this evening, always representing here in the Village of Royal Palm, and of course, Ms. Andrews, who is here supporting each time. So one of the things that we wanted to focus as a school district this year is really all around, just some good old customer service, right? So catch the wave is our catchphrase this year, in addition to, of course, continuing to educate, affirm, and inspire our students and everyone around us. But we recognize that because our customers matter, our customer service has to matter as well. So we are making sure that we are catching the wave, and we're doing that by W standing for welcoming everyone to our schools and buildings. We achieve the best possible outcomes for our customers. We value everyone, everywhere, and every day, and we exceed our customers' expectations whenever and wherever we can. So that is what we are striving for this year and beyond. Also, I just want to always go back and ground our work around our strategic plan from the school district that will sunset in 2027, but we do have a lot of work ahead with that strategic plan. And before we move forward with this school year, now it's only September, right? It's only been a few weeks since we've been back. We want to be able to celebrate our successes and also share with you some of our results from last school year, so you can see kind of where we are and the shift between the FSA, the old test, and the new progress monitoring assessments, the 3 that they take through the year. And so with that said, I'm going to invite Mrs. Wetzel over. I'm sorry, Ms. Green is first with elementary. I already graduated her to secondary. I'm going to be sharing, I'm going to ask Mrs. Green to come forward and share with you some of the performance from our elementary schools, and then followed by Mrs. Wetzel sharing the performance from our secondary schools, and then we will close it out. Mrs. Green.
So good evening, everyone. So again, I would just like to recognize the elementary principals that are here with us this evening, and Mr. Salter sends his regrets. He was out today and texted me trying to come back, and I said, it's okay, it's okay. We're a team. All right, so starting with our academics. So our schools, our teams, our principals, our teachers, as well as our students, we've been very busy. We've been busy combing through last year's data and planning for this year. As you can see in ELA, from PM1 to Progress Monitoring 3 for our 3 through 5 students, as well as for our K through 2 students, our students demonstrated progress, and we're very proud of the progress that they made in this area, but we also realize that there is still a lot of work to be done. This year, the Central Region has taken on the challenge of improving our performance in 3rd grade ELA. So each one of our elementary schools have a 3rd grade WIG, and when you hear from the schools, that's wildly important goal. They will be able to share a little bit more about that, and as Mrs. Haynes comes throughout the year, I'm pretty sure she will share more about that as well. For math, Progress Monitoring 1, that includes our 3rd through 5th grade students, but some of our 5th grade students that are in accelerated math, they take the 6th grade assessment. So you can see their performance that is averaged here as well, from Progress Monitoring 1 to Progress Monitoring 3 for math. Again, we demonstrated progress, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Oops. Let me back up. All right, so Cypress Trails Elementary School, where Mr. Salter is the principal. Cypress Trails has been very busy and are excited to tell you that over the summer, they visited the Ron Clark Academy and are now a part of the Ron Clark Academy house system. The teachers and staff began building their spirit for the houses, and their focus is to build smaller communities on campus for students to feel belonging and encouragement. If you haven't had an opportunity to visit Cypress Trails Elementary and to feel the energy and excitement that they have going on over there, I encourage you to do so. Moving right along to H.L. Johnson Elementary School, where Dr. Amato is the principal, and they have a few things over there to celebrate as well. At H.L. Johnson Elementary School, attendance has increased, and they are very, very excited to welcome all their returning families and new families to their school as well. They're celebrating that on August 18th, they had their annual tea and sympathy for kindergarten families, and there were over 144 students and 101 families in attendance. August 25th was their back to school PTO event supporting a new local ice cream spot, Cool Runnings, at Veterans Park. There were over 400 plus families, and 95% of the teachers were present. It was an amazing and fun-filled Friday evening. And you can just look at their smiling faces there and just see just how excited they are and were at H.L. Johnson. And last but definitely not least, at Royal Palm Beach Elementary School, where Mrs. Getty is the principal, and the Bobcats held their annual barbecue, back to school barbecue. I haven't received an invite yet. I've been waiting for a few years now. Maybe the upcoming year I'll get an invite. But they held their back to school barbecue on August 18th with over 500 families attending. They enjoyed games, hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, cotton candy, snow cones, and iced tea. And if you look in the far right picture, Mrs. Getty recruited her entire family over there to work. It was an amazing, amazing way to start the new school year. So again, thank you to the elementary principals here in Royal Palm Beach and the families and students for all that they do. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wetzel.
And thank you, almost Dr. Green. So good evening, everybody. It's really great to be here tonight.
We are on the home stretch, so, we can kind of shake it out, and we close it out with secondary. If you take a look at our test scores this past year, you can see that the comparison between the Florida Standards Assessment and to the new FAST assessment, that all the secondary schools within statistical difference were able to hold their own. So it's one set of standards to a completely different set of standards, a little more rigorous. So I think we were all on the right track. As we're just finishing Progress Monitoring 1 from the state, I don't have that data to share with you, but I can tell you in both of our secondary schools, you can watch that trajectory start to slide upward again as well. So Crestwood Middle School, Dr. Nance sends her regrets this evening. She could not be here, but I do want to share with you is that the Crestwood boys basketball team were the 2023 Palm Beach County School District Middle School champions, undefeated. Yay. And the exciting part of that is also that these students are also, they're student athletes. So they have to keep a certain level of academics in order to be able to play. So I think that just speaks volumes for the kids. Now, Crestwood Middle School also held their very first annual National Junior Honor Society Leadership Retreat on Wednesday, June 7th at Commons Park. If you will take a look, I think there's somebody famous in this room, a couple of famous people that were a part of that leadership retreat. So thank you to Board Member Mrs. Marcia Andrews and Councilman Jeff Mara for being there as a part of this event. But it was really quite an exciting event. I can tell you that the kids felt very important being a part of this and being able to look up some really tremendous leaders. Now, August 25th was an Eagle-rific day at Crestwood Middle School. This is the day that they did their very first launch of their Pro Dads, and it's really about getting dads to come to school, volunteer, be a part of their child's education, and really moving the school forward. So it was very exciting. The season opener was facilitated by Mr. Richard Johnson, an educational specialist for the Paper Tutorial Corporation that we partner with here in Palm Beach County. Crestwood was also very excited to share their new cafeteria and gym flooring and the school-wide painting project. So as soon as you can get a chance to come on over to Crestwood Middle School, it's got a slight little facelift. It looks spectacular. Along with spectacular, we should also recognize the fact that they got their Clean School recognition for August 2023. They have a tremendous custodial team over at Crestwood Middle School. There really isn't a day that you go on that campus that it's not beautiful and spectacular and shiny, even before the facelift. So I'm always really proud of that. Royal Palm Beach High School, some tremendous highlights. There was a lot of recognition from the Cambridge International program at the North Palm Beach Country Club. And if you take a look, there's a few people in this room as well that were at the Professional Learning, the ACE Cambridge Conference this summer in Orlando. You see that beautiful principal there right in the center. Royal Palm Beach National Honor Society sponsored a blood drive with One Blood. Always feeling that's very brave. So the Royal Palm Beach High School boys varsity golf team goes tech for practice at Kaiser University. They look pretty formidable there. Again, student athletes as well. And the Latinos in Action group is now in full recruitment mode. They've increased their membership in their leadership program. Royal Palm Beach High School serves over 865 Hispanic students and families. So to be a member and a part of LIA is really important as we move the school forward. And questions or comments?
Okay, and so I'm going to ask Ms. Andrews to come on up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And good evening to everyone. It's my pleasure to say welcome back, and just so excited to know that we are always a team here with the Village of Royal Palm Beach. I bring greetings from our superintendent, Superintendent Michael Burke, as well as all of the 7 school board members, but I am so pleased to be your school board member. So just a few comments today. First of all, Western Academy, you're awesome. You've been in the community for a long time. When I look at your presentation, it's ditto, ditto, ditto from year to year to year. Keep up the great work. You are an active member of the community. And when I look at our principals sitting here together with us tonight and our regional representatives, we all are one. We're talking about our children that live in our communities. So I want to tell you, as a school board member, it gives me great pleasure to tell you thank you for everything you do each day for our students. And Educational Advisory Board Chair Paula Wilson, the new chair, thank you so much. And Nancy Panena, who was with us last year, thank you all so much for leading. But for this entire board, you give your volunteer service to make a difference. To Councilman Hamara, you've been with us for so long. We continue to love you and work with you. And when I see our student, I walked in with him tonight, I said, thank you for making a difference for our schools. We kicked off a very wonderful start of the school year. We opened 2 brand new schools this year, Dr. Joaquin Garcia High School, that's in District 6, represented by me as the board member. It was exciting. And we had 1 new middle school, West Boynton Middle School. So it was exciting seeing the new facilities, seeing the students go to a new school and the excitement. But children are excited to go to their own school each and every day. And on the first day of school, we saw so many children excited about being in school. And I want to tell you that the superintendent is everywhere, on the ground, inside our schools, in our communities, working on the partnership. He is so thankful for having these educational advisory boards working together with the schools. You're in the schools. In fact, I was at Crestwood just last week, and you're right, the floors are awesome. But the school is great. I was in there to see Catlin, who is an artist there, and she's won a national recognition by the Hanley Foundation, but the art teacher there is great. And it's all about great teachers, and that's what I heard you all talking about today. The staff, the commitment from the community that makes a difference. But I wanted to say today was a kind of sad day for me, but it was a day that we should remember. I started out my day this morning at a high school, and you know we have wonderful junior ROTC programs. So today we were honoring and memorializing and looking at what happened to us in September 2001, all those years before our students that are with us now were born. September 11th was a bad day, that some bad things happened to America. And today, as I was walking in the school and talking to students and seeing the junior ROTC, the principals and the teachers and the staff, the first responders and all of the people there saying, we must never forget. We must teach our children their history, to know what happened to us, and to know that we are the United States of America. We are one. We work together to protect one another. When we talked about today the first responders that saved so many lives, we lost so many lives on that day. Families were disrupted, death. It was something. So we have to continue to teach our children their history, let them know that we live in the greatest place on earth, the United States of America, and we have to thank our first responders. We have to thank our military, our veterans, those who keep us safe. When I heard the chief today and I was looking at her and listening to her, keeping our schools safe, the police officers on our campus, all of our teachers and employees being trained to keep us safe. Well, that's what happened on September 11th. All the people jumped into action to help do what they could to save the lives of all the people, to keep us all safe. And so when we teach our children that we all must be one and working together and loving one another, it brings it home on a day like today, September 11th, 2021, when it all happened. But we can never forget that we must work together and love one another. So when I come to the monthly meetings, I love hearing what's going on in the schools. I just told H.L. Johnson, I saw you on the television before I came over here with the great things you're doing with your green program at your school. And just as you walk into all of these schools, and this is what you all do, you get a chance to take a look at what we're doing as a district, i.e. at our charter schools, at our district public schools, and you give us input on how we can make life better. Life better mentally, emotionally, socially, and academically. And when we put all of those things together, our children will be successful. So I just love being a part of the team. Any questions? Thank you all so much.
Are there any principal reports tonight? No? Okay, so I'd like to go into the chair's initiative. So for my chair's initiative this school year, I'd like to discuss educational continuity between schools, elementary school, middle school, high school. How are we preparing students in the village for their next steps? So to that end, and starting at the very beginning, I would like to request a district representative present VPK opportunities for incoming kindergartners. So again, just presenting what opportunities we have to get children ready for kindergarten as our first step. Going forward, I would love for our principal reports to include what your school does to best prepare your highest grade levels for their next step in education. What programs exist to connect students and families to their future schools in the village. Okay. And then leading into the school liaison reports, I attended both the School Advisory Council and the PTO meetings at Cypress Trails in August and September. In SAC, we discussed and approved this year's school improvement plan. In PTO, we are looking forward to the upcoming fundraiser and parent volunteer opportunities. So I'd like to ask the rest of the board if you have any school liaison reports to share this evening. No? Okay. So that leads us to our student council report, and we have Connor here filling in, Connor Morley filling in for Jenna Larson this evening.
Hi, everyone. My name is Connor Moore. I am the Vice President at Royal Palm Beach High School. The current president is Jenna Larson. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it today, but she has asked me to apologize for missing the first meeting. So, basically what we have been doing over the summer and the beginning of the school year, we went to a leadership camp called South Florida Leadership Training Camp. This taught the executive board a lot about what it means to be like a leader and how to run a team efficiently, as well as gaining vital skills such as communication, teamwork, empathy, and creativity. Our executive board will bring these skills to the new school year by teaching weekly leadership lessons to the council members in hopes to spread these Student Council has hosted our annual freshman invasion on August 7th, helping the freshmen by giving tours of the school, providing them with their IDs, Chromebooks, and their schedules for the school year. We also helped the freshmen to do more justice to the school on their first day by holding signs in the hallway and offering helpful responses. Student Council has also released our freshman packets and conducted freshman interviews, and recently welcomed our new freshmen to Student Council in the classroom. We have announced our homecoming theme this year. It will be Once Upon Homecoming, like a fairy tale kind of theme. And we have started prepping for homecoming, decorations, and then planning out the lunch games and the night activities for the weekend.
Thank you so much, Connor, for doing that. Are there any statements from the public? No statements from the public. So I would like to ask for the approval of the minutes of the Education Advisory Board meeting of May 8th, 2023 and August 21st, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I don't think there's any old or new business of the board. So I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. See you on October 2nd with Principal Getty.